What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This episode I'm going to start looking at doing some intake, painting, tidying up some stuff. I'm also going to paint, now that I'm going low mount, I'm not going to bother painting my compressor housing on the turbo that I do end up buying, just because it's going to be down out of the way, no one's really going to see it. I do plan also on the low mount, because it's VL factory gang stuff. It does have like all these threads on top. Some of them have broken screws in them and stuff, but there's plenty of I could make a heat shield for this manifold, which may be very useful. So I do plan on making a heat shield to cover up the manifold, but even then I'm still going to clean it all out, give it a nice good clean, and give it just a hit with some cast iron paint just to dress it up a bit, make it look nice. And as far as intake, I've got these runners. Dad did me a solid the other day and actually cleaned up all the gasket surfaces, so that was awesome because they were really caked up with crap and it wasn't looking very good. And I've also got this here is my cut and shut forward facing plenum. This is just a plenum that we got along the way at some point, which is pretty barbaric. It's not that great. If you look down there, you can actually see it's not the greatest thing ever, but it's certainly going to do for my setup. It's going to be fine, and it still makes it a lot easier to do like plugs and injectors and that sort of thing while it's on the car. So this is just another manifold that I dragged up. This has still got the IAC and everything on it. This, if you can notice there, does have all the IAC provisions. So I've been tossing up whether to just put the IAC on and like loop all this stuff, and just obviously I'm not going to run it because I'll be running Microtech, so I won't be running the IAC or AAC, whatever you want to call it, the air control valve. So I'm tossing up whether to try and actually manufacture a bit of a plate to go over that. I had a look around. I can't find anyone that actually mass produces one, so I don't know whether I'm going to try and manufacture one of those or just sort of slap the IAC on there and just loop it up and shut it up so that it doesn't do anything. So haven't decided yet, but either way, this is going to go wrinkle black, that's going to go wrinkle black all of it, and that's pretty much what I want to do. So at the moment, just going to work on giving them a good clean, good degrease, clean them all out. I'll have to clean that surface first, so I'll do that now. And after that, just a bit of brake clean, and then we'll start hitting them with some paint. Hopefully it'll be quite nice. Alrighty, so we're sort of coming along. Just got the second coat on all this stuff, just the coil mount, engine brackets, and this little plenum helperoonie thing. I can't finish the top half of the plenum because both of these cans of Duplicolor wrinkle have just turned to shit. Both like 3/4 full of paint still, but they're just they're fucked. So that sucks. Sucks I can't finish that. I'm gonna have to get another can just to finish that off. But the bottom half of the runners came out really well, and obviously my manifold and that cast iron paint came out quite nice as well. It's just exhaust paint. It's cast iron, but it looks more like cast alley to me. I reckon they probably messed that up, but either way, it's gonna look good. And yeah, the wrinkle black of the runners came out really good. But anyway, that's all I'm going to do for tonight. I'll probably get another coat on these and just leave it at that. And we'll have another look at that in the morning out in the sun, see how good it is. And I guess I'll have to just get another can of paint and finish the top half of the plenum another day, which is a pain. So anyway, we'll check back in the morning and see how they look. There you go, look at that. Looks really good. Pretty stoked with how that came out. Shame those two cans went to shit before I could do the top runners, but anyway, you get that. So they still need some paint. I'll have to wait until next weekend to go get some and do that now. I've got all these little engine brackets and stuff mounted, painted up just straight black. So yeah. Sorry for these last couple episodes being pretty uneventful, guys, and probably fairly boring. I'm really stoked with how that came out too. Looks really good. But anyway, I'm just sort of trying to get everything organised, make sure everything's ready to go, because look at that. So Liam's pretty much flogged heaps of stuff out of here. He's flogged the carpet and everything. Heaps of the interior bits, the top of the door trims and stuff, so Liam flogged all that for his car. Apparently a mirror glass as well. But anyway, that was that's why we bought it. So hell yeah, dude. Liam also bent the door a bit so that it actually doesn't leak water, which is cool. So yeah, off it goes. Out to HQ with the rest of the collection. Alrighty guys, so at the time I'm recording this, I'm probably going to be almost finished and almost back, so I don't really know why I'm even bothering, but I'm going on another shutdown starting, I'll be leaving this Monday, but you guys will be watching this video in a couple of weeks. So that's good for money, because it means I got to get cashed up again. Because I actually just, after I got back from the last one, I just dropped $4 grand getting my teeth fixed. So got all my teeth done, so that pretty much took most of the money I made from the last shut, plus the little bits and pieces that I got for the 31. So it means that progress on the 31 is going to slow up a bit, which is a pain. Also, it means I'm going to have to scale back to 2 videos a week until I've finished the shut, just to make sure I've got enough content to get through. I was really hoping, today is the 3rd of May, I was hoping to have the 31 pretty much finished, ready to go for, there's a Friday night drift on the 1st of May at Queensland Raceway. 31st of May at Queensland Raceway, which is sort of just right at the end of the month. So I was really hoping to get the 31 to that just for a shakedown. And then in June, there's, I believe, a Friday night drift on the 14th, and then a Sunday sesh on the 16th or something like that, like a morning session. And I would really like to get to both of those. So I'm still aiming to get both to both the ones of June. I don't believe it's going to be done for May, because I got to go away on Monday, which is going to be what, the 5th or 6th, and I'm meant to be gone for 3 weeks, so I won't be back till the end of the month. So that sucks, but it means I'll be cashed up again, which is good. So I'm going to take Pintara out to HQ today. I've got a few little things to finish off my RB30 now. I've got my new turbo, which I actually managed to get for 170 bucks off eBay. So when I got home after deciding to go to a 2871, I jumped on eBay. I had a look, like just the max speeding rods eBay speckies. They were like 185, 190 bucks. And there was an auction on there from Max Speeding that was at 170 that ended in like 8 minutes, and no one had bid on it. So I ended up getting it for 170. So that was awesome. I've got myself a multi-layer steel T3 gasket. So hopefully I don't have any issues with my T3 gasket, because if you guys followed the channel for a long time, back when I used to drift, I used to be plagued by issues with gaskets on my turbo. And I believe that is because for a few reasons I believe that is, which I'm going to try and combat this time around. I believe it was because the stainless manifold, the flange, I don't believe was ever flat. I don't think it was ever really a very good surface. So for that reason, the gaskets never really had proper seal. Secondly, I never had any flex joint or anything on my exhaust, on my dump. It was all just straight through. So this time around, I'm planning on putting a flex joint in the dump so that it takes a bit of pressure off that manifold and off the turbo. Obviously I'm using the cast manifold, which is already going to be better. So hopefully, I'm really hoping that this time around this car is just absolutely bulletproof. I'm really hoping that I can just drive it all the time and never have to worry about it. And I'm hoping I can be that last dude on track every Matsuri at Sunday at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon while no one else is on track because everyone's gone or broken. So that's what I want for this car. I just want it to be dead reliable, and then when the Cressy's done, it goes in the street, and I just want to be able to drive it down to Archie, skid it, drive it home, leave it in the garage, just have it be one of those cars that I just never really have to touch. And because, you know, I'll have the Crusader to be an unreliable piece of junk. So I've also got some more cans of Wrinkle Black. I've got the Duplicolor ones again, just because I've already done the finish on the runners and I've already half sprayed the top half of the plenum, so I didn't want to get another brand and have a different finish. So that's the only reason I bought the Duplicolor again, so I'll give them a go. I'll see how they turn out, but obviously I'm really unimpressed with the last two cans. Then I really want to get the fuel tank and fuel lines and everything I need out of this Pintara. So guys, as this RB30 engine rebuild, I suppose, draws to a close and it's nearing completion, there are just a few things I really want to reiterate and stress. The reason I sort of feel the need to stress these issues is basically because of on-song performance and the fact that we are trying to build a business where we do build this sort of thing, is that a lot of this engine is very much do as I say, not as I do. A lot of it is very dodgy, things that we would never do normally on other people's motors. The only reason I'm happy to do it on this motor is because it really was a slap together on the cheap as possible engine that I really do expect to be probably pulling out in about a year's time or so. So I suppose first obvious thing is the fact that I RTV'd the oil pump on. That is normally a very big no-no. I would not condone doing that at all. Second thing is the fact that I didn't check all of the bearing clearances, only a couple. Again, that's something that I wouldn't condone. Normally you check every single one of them, make sure they're all within spec. If not, you can order different size bearings, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, only done that way because it was a real throw together RB30 Frankenstein. It's all standard gear and it's my own, so just wanted to make that clear. But yeah, so pretty stoked on it. Hopefully it lasts for the year. Pretty much planning on maybe after a year's time pulling it out, or building a new RB basically, and building one for a bit more boost, put a new Hotside on, and yeah, sort of put a 25 box in it. So what I'll probably end up doing, I think, is ripping out that entire running gear, motor, gearbox, everything. I'll put complete new motor and gearbox in it with a new ECU, and I might put that motor and gearbox into something else. So that's what I'm thinking at the moment. But yeah, just wanted to point that out. Again, I think I've said it before, but I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware again that it has been a bit of a dodgy, very cheap build, and that's why. Man, this poor old Falcon needs so much love and attention. I really am going to have to spend some time really giving it some love when I get back from this shut. I still need to swap the diffs out. I still need to get this window working. So yeah, I'm surprised it's still going, but it still hasn't let me down, so that's awesome. Anyway, sorry for blabbing on in the car again, guys. I just really wanted to let you know that. Good girl. Good girl. Alright, so some disappointing news. I've got my turbo here that just explained to you before that I bought, that I got for 170 bucks. It was advertised as a 2871. It is definitely actually a T25. It has got a T25 5-bolt dump and a T25 flange, not a T3 flange. So, problem is, like, I can't even use this housing because it's T28, the core's different, it's different size. This housing will not fit on this, so that's a real pain. And I'm pretty sure they won't accept returns. They say in the ad that you have to not sign for it if you want to return it, basically, so I'm pretty sure they won't accept returns. So that's a massive pain in my ass because, yeah, this obviously is the wrong flange for that at all. It's not going to work even a little bit. So, yeah, I don't know, it's a bit of a pain. So yeah, not sure what to do about it at the moment. I'm half tempted now that I am actually going on this shutdown and I'm gonna have a bit of extra cash to just buy the parts and the compressor housing and the wheel to rebuild this T28 and actually use it. I don't know what to do. Alright, so I'm thinking I may have come up with a bit of a Frankenstein solution to this. Alright, so This here is as you've probably seen, or I might have told you, this is a standard RB20 turbo. Factory Garrett T28 RB20 turbo. As you might be aware, the compressor, housing and wheel are a different size to the RB25 turbo, which again, I think I went through this in the last last turbo episode I did, but anyway. So that's the size of an RB20 compressor housing, RB25 compressor housing compared to an RB20 compressor housing. They're quite different. The compressor wheels are a different size. But the turbine wheels are the same size, but the turbine housing is a different AR. This is an RB25 standard turbine housing. It's quite a bit bigger than the RB20 one, which is good. So the RB20 I think is a 0.3, or that's a 0.4, something like that. I don't know, I can't remember exactly. I did read up on them though. But as you can see here, this is T25 core, which is different. The housings, the turbine housings mount differently to the core. As you can see, this is quite a bit larger and 6 bolt. This is smaller and 4 bolt. So the biggest thing that was going for me buying just a China turbo was the fact that I really wanted the 71mm compressor wheel. I could not find anywhere online like Kinagawa and that make billet compressor wheels for the T28, which is a really good upgrade for China, like China turbos and even factory ones that have ceramic wheels in that, because that's what limits them. They start to blow apart the ceramic wheels. But I could not find a Kinagawa billet compressor wheel for an T28 in a 71mm wheel. But having a look at these, looking at the compressor housings, they somewhat look very similar in size. I haven't actually gone and pulling it apart yet, but I have a feeling that the compressor housing off this, or the compressor housing off this, would fit on this core. So what that means is the Frankenstein turbo that I could make is use this genuine Garrett core, rebuild it with this Garrett turbine wheel, use the RB25 stock rear housing, which is a little bit bigger AR, which is good because it's going on a 3 litre, and then use the China 71mm compressor housing and wheel and build myself a bit of a Frankenstein, and then just obviously get it balanced so that it's balanced properly. And then I would have my T2871 genuine Garrett item for the cost of a balance and a rebuild kit, which is pretty cheap. I'm pretty sure the bearing, like the seal and bearing kits, are quite cheap. So that's what I'm looking at. So what I might do is just pull the housings off both of these and just make sure that front is interchangeable, and then I'll go from there. The sun's actually just starting to poke its head out, so I've decided I am actually going to paint this intake in between doing this turbo stuff, and hopefully it comes out alright and nice in the sun's heat. This manifold's coming up pretty good. I'm hoping the sun really sort of comes out a bit more. With this wrinkle, it finishes up a lot better if you get some good, nice heat into it. It's really, really good to do it in the sun. But anyway, I'm doing my best. Obviously, it's not the nicest intake manifold. So pretty much just polishing a turd here, but I think it'll all look good in the bay. So this just keeps on getting more and more fun. It's about to rain. I just put another coat of paint on that intake. Oh, it'll be right. So, upon getting this housing off, I actually found that this turbo is toasted. That is just snapped clean off. The shaft is just snapped. Funny thing is, this turbo actually came. A mate of mine was building a Sylvia with a 25 in it. Bought this turbo. It was all meant to be good gear. All this stuff came on that motor in that Sylvia. He just never got to a point where it was at startup, and I never intended to, so I pulled it all out. So lucky this actually never got the startup, because this is absolutely toast. So that's just snapped, completely broken, absolutely wrecked. So there goes that idea of using this core, because at the moment I don't think that's savable now, because there's no way I can secure it or hold it to get the front nut off. So she's pretty much toast, that one, completely. So that's no good. Yeah, the next option would be to potentially look at doing this entire setup, like take the turbine housing as well, put it in the this turbo on like that core. Probably use that core, this setup, this housing, but it's really starting to get a bit overcomplicated. I don't know. I'm gonna go get this intake inside, but. Alright, so just dummying this up a bit, this idea is not gonna work. As you can see, this is the old main shaft and turbine housing in the old core with the compressor housing setup, and you can see the difference in length. That's both those compressor wheels at the same start point-ish. And as you can see, because of the difference, this difference in the frame, this is offset from the frame quite a lot more. So you can see the length difference. So this shaft is not going to be long enough to do what I want it to do in this frame with this wheel. So you can see there, I've just put the other compressor wheel on there just so you can see. And that's how much of that's sticking out. And you can see that that just won't work at that sort of length. So that means I'm left again with nothing that's gonna work here, which is an absolute pain in the bum. So my options from here are leave this 2571, put it back together, save it for maybe another project potentially, and look at buying another eBay turbo in those specs. The problem I'm having is I went back and had a look through all of the listings for 2871 by Max Speeding Rods, which is this, and they are all this turbo. They are all in fact not a 28 frame, they're all in fact a 25 frame. This is all Hybrid Performance New Zealand's fault, really. I mean, if they just sold me a manifold to start with, I wouldn't have this issue, but look, here we are on cast and use that turbo on a high mount manifold with the gate in there and just be done with it, but no. Alright, so I haven't even been able to sleep. This has just been racking my brain, and I think I've decided what I'm going to do, which is just a real roundabout piss off. But what I'm going to do is just buy an eBay stainless manifold like I originally was going to, and use the TO4E, even though it's a weird giant size, it's still going to be alright, with the external gate that I've got as I originally planned to. And just that way, when Hybrid Performance gets stock, if it's cracked, I'll buy one and I can just swap it out, and hopefully everything will sort of line up, or at least be pretty close. This going low mount, as much as I was really liking the idea, it's really just becoming too much of a pain in the ass. You know, I didn't want to spend the money on a decent high mount, but now this exercise has cost me, I paid $150 for the manifold, plus another $170 for the turbo, which collectively is more than it would cost for a stainless high mount anyway. So if I buy another TO4E, hoping that it's going to fit this manifold and it gets here and it doesn't, that's then like another $200. So it's getting too up there and too much of a pain in the ass. It's too much mucking around. So as much as I don't like the idea of using eBay stainless, the fact that I do plan on putting in a flex joint and a few other things this time to help reduce the stress on the manifold, I'm hoping that that will prevent it from cracking. So that's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that, and that's going to be it.